What's going on, guys? I'm back for another video. In today's video, we're gonna be messing with two bikes. I got a customer bike and I got a new project in, so let's get right into it. Alrighty, so right here we have my new project bike. I may end up keeping it, I haven't decided yet. This thing is really awesome. It is a 2009 CRF150R. This is the RB version. It's got the big wheel. It's a 1916, I believe, something like that. It's a really sweet bike. I actually didn't really record anything because I just kind of wanted to keep it low down, but you know, since this happened, I guess I'll put it in a video. So I paid a pretty fair price, I think, for this thing. You know, it's got a clean title, came with the user manual for it. Got it from the original owner, well, the owner's parents. It was a kid's bike. He had had it for a long time and barely rode it. I mean, these plastics for being a 15-year-old bike are in really, really good shape. Here's the gas tank and seat. I mean, there's no tears, no rips, no nothing. Overall, very solid, very clean bike. Had been sitting for like 6 months with gas in the carb, and he fired it up. It would idle, but as soon as you gave it throttle, it would stall. So it's a pretty obvious, you know, needs a carb clean. So I cleaned the carb, and the engine, because there's two separate oil, you know, reservoirs on this thing. One of them is for the gear set, and one of them is for the crankcase and, you know, valves, everything, engine oil and gear oil. And it was full of both, and oil looked good, at least on the dipstick. Looked clean, didn't look terrible. So I cleaned the carburetor, put it back together, got the bike to run. Ran pretty well, I thought. You know, it was decent. Would rev up, you know, and I rode it around for approximately 5 minutes, and it stalled, you know, which is kind of normal. Like sometimes these 4-strokes, they just stall, like maybe you had the idle set too low. That's kind of what I was thinking. Went to kickstart it, and you know, it fired up once, and then I went to kick it again, and the kicker locked up. And I was like, oh, that's not good. You know, I was kind of thinking, oh, maybe the kicker spring broke, you know, something simple. And I took the clutch side off, and everything looked fine in there. And I went to turn over the crank, because you can, when it's assembled, we'll get to this later. When it's assembled, there's a hex on there, and you can turn the crank over manually by hand. And it was very tight. I was like, well, that's really not good. We have some kind of bottom end failure or something. So then I took the valve cover off. Everything in the valve cylinder head looked good. All the springs looked good. There was a very tight, like the intake valves were very tight. Probably had never been checked before. You know, this is something you're supposed to do like every 6.5 hours, 7 hours, is check your valve clearance and shim as necessary. So I was like, okay, that could be an issue. I took the cam, you know, like I was thinking, oh, maybe that's why it's tight. So I took the cam itself off, timing chain off, took the tensioner off and everything, and it was still really tight. So I was like, okay, definitely bottom end failure. I was like, we either got a bad crank or a bad, like rod bearing or a bad crank bearing, something like that. And, you know, I removed the engine from the bike, and that was kind of a job in itself. The swing arm bolt, like this engine definitely had never been out of this bike before, because it has all OEM gaskets. Everything is OEM, which actually looks really good, by the way. But the swing arm bolt was super, super bad. I'll show you that now. I actually have it wrapped up in some coil right now. Here it is. You can see this thing is just super, super corroded. Looks terrible. It actually looks a lot better than it did yesterday. That coil definitely ate most of the rust off. I'm definitely gonna sand it down and grease the crap out of it. But once I got that swing arm bolt out and got the motor out, I took the cylinder head off, took the cylinder off. Well, actually, as you know, when I took the cylinder head off, I looked at the piston, and the piston kind of looked a little cockeyed in there. So I went to rock it, and it, you know, because these things shouldn't rock, you know, like there should be very minimal movement, even with a really worn engine. I mean, you should barely be able to move it. And this thing rocked back and forth like a good couple of millimeters. So I was like, okay, we definitely have a broken piston skirt. And turns out I was right. So this was our failure on this engine. You can see two nice pieces of piston. These both, I mashed them both up. They, you know, that is all the material that came out. This is the piece of the side skirt right there, just like that. That was actually in this little trap, which is really genius by Honda, by the way. It's basically a little reed valve, and all the junk or any, you know, any material that would come into a failure goes through this little crack and collects in here, and it only allows oil to pass through there, which is really, thank you Honda, genius. But this piece, unfortunately right here, wedged itself between this side of the crank and this side of the case. You can actually see a little bit of scoring. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, it's definitely nothing protruding, but that's what locked it up. All the bearings in here are perfect. I mean, everything in here, you know, for 15 years looks amazing. So I think the kid was pretty truthful in the fact that he didn't ride it that often and it just sat most of its life. Because all the bearings, I mean, none of the bearings make any noise. They're all insanely smooth, really good bearings. You know, everything is really as it should be, really nice. But yeah, this was the failure. Unfortunately, I got to ride it for like 5 minutes, and I'm taking this stupid thing apart. But yeah, I mean, it's for 15 years. It's, I mean, like there's still cross hatching on the cylinder, except for right, where's it at? Right there. There it is. There you can see some wear, and that was from the broken skirt causing the piston to rock and wear that cylinder. So I've got a parts list together for things I need. I'm going to be getting a new cylinder and piston. Haven't decided if I'm going to go with the high compression 160 kit yet with the hot cams stage 2 cam. I may just rebuild it to factory spec, you know, because I want this thing to last a while. It's a nice little, you know, like kind of a pit bike, you know, for someone like me. It'd just be a fun little yard toy, maybe go take it on the trails every once in a while. But you know, I want to keep it as reliable as possible. So, you know, we definitely need a new cylinder, new piston, and pretty much all new gaskets. Most of the gaskets are ripped when disassembling, but I mean, the gaskets look great. This thing didn't leak, and I want to put it back together the same way that I got it. But yeah, this is everything laid out so far. It's kind of unfortunate that it came to this, but here we are. But other than that broken piston skirt, everything else looks amazing and it looks original. I mean, even the air filter, you know, this is definitely the original air filter and it looks like it's in good shape. I'm definitely gonna get a new one though, just to replace it because it's probably 15 years old. And another genius thing that Honda did, I mean, this is a straight up ignition coil from a car, which is really cool. The fact that Honda made this bike coil on plug, that's really sick to me, really awesome. Everything else is in really good shape, and it did have a aftermarket chain guard or case saver, whatever you want to call it, and a aftermarket kicker. I don't know where that is at the moment. It's right here. So yeah, aftermarket kicker and aftermarket case saver. Maybe the bike was dropped, maybe they just upgraded it just for fun, not really sure. But yeah, that's kind of the update on this CRF150RB. Really sweet bike. You know, it's in really good shape, other than the broken piston, and I will say the fork seals are leaking a little bit. Haven't decided if I want to do that because it's really annoying to change fork seals. Takes almost an hour to get the stupid thing apart and 30 seconds to put a new seal in it. But may end up doing the fork seals on it because it does seem to leak pretty significantly. I mean, it's not dripping out, but you can see it on the fork tubes. But that's all for now for this bike. This is my personal bike, and will be, actually I sold the CR85 and bought this. So that CR85 was a 04, and I didn't have a title, which, you know, kind of shame on me, but it was a really clean bike. Sold that for pretty much what I paid for this, which is pretty funny because no one in their right mind would want to trade a 09 150R for a CR85. I mean, maybe somebody, but yeah, really good deal on this thing so far. And now we'll talk about this thing. So this is my buddy's, I don't know what year it is. I think it's a 23 or 24 Talaria Sting MX4. And this MX4 has definitely seen some better days. It's my buddy's bike, but this is like his spare. He has another MX4, and this is basically for his brothers to ride. He bought it for them, and they beat the crap out of this thing. I mean, you can see how bent the freaking pegs are, the peg brackets. They're cooked, dude. The seat, it's been looped God knows how many times. The actual subframe itself is all messed up too, so he has some other parts on order, so I'm not gonna be messing with it at the moment. But he has got the Hayes Dominion upgrade kit, which it comes with a new caliper, grip, lever, blah, blah, blah. And it'll be getting a new rear brake caliper, bleed the front brakes, and it needs a new throttle tube because I guess it was wrecked on its side, and this throttle tube is cooked. So, and he's getting new grips. And he wants me to do some wire tucking and stuff because I worked on this bike before and we kind of just sloppily threw it together, but I'm gonna clean up the wiring on it, do the rear brake, throttle tube, and once he gets in the new subframe and seat, we'll be installing that with a new rear fender. And yeah, that's kind of the update in the shop for right now. Been working on bikes and just, you know, having a good time. So this video wasn't too exciting, but you know, just kind of a little shop update, letting y'all know what's going on. I need to post more. It's, you know, it's hard. I don't really think about it anymore. There for a while, I was doing a lot of videos, but something happened to my channel and like all my videos disappeared, except for the ones that I've recently uploaded since that happened. But hey, it is what it is. I've tried to contact YouTube, but I'm not monetized and I'm not like a, I don't even know, verified creator or whatever you want to call it through YouTube. So there's really no creator support for small creators like me. So if you guys could be awesome and subscribe, like the video if you thought it was interesting, go check out my other ones. You know, I post infrequently, but I'm gonna try to do better about posting more often and, you know, getting riding clips and races and stuff like that. One video that will be coming up soon, my buddy challenged me to a race. It's actually this guy's best friend. All three, we're all kind of friends, but I met him through this guy. He wants to race a Sur-Ron Ultra B versus this bike for $100 once I get it fixed. He's claiming since he weighs less than I do and the bike has a little bit less horsepower than this thing. You know, the Ultra B I think is, he's got the old version, so it has 18 kilowatt, which is I think 22, 23 horsepower, something like that. Go do the math, let me know. But he's saying that his Ultra B would dog a 150R. He didn't say it would just beat it, he said it would dog it. And I told him, I was like, dude, that's very unlikely. That's really unlikely, especially, I'm not the best rider in the world, but I'm not some freaking green bean riding this thing. So, but yeah, I appreciate your support. If you made it to the end of the video, please definitely leave a like, subscribe, let me know how I'm doing, and I will see you guys in the next one.